Football is a team game, and sometimes that becomes an issue. For years, ambitious men meet each other in the same locker room, which inevitably brings problems. In this video, we're going to tell you about the most exciting and fierce confrontations between footballers who can call each other enemies. But before you watch the video, try to answer a question. Lee Todd received the fastest red card in the history of football. How many seconds did he spend on the pitch? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Zlatan Ibrahimovic vs Marco Materazzi. The Materazzi and Zidane conflict is arguably the most famous confrontation of footballers in the 21st century. You surely know the details of that story, so we'll tell you about another incident that happened with the scandalous Italian. This story was told by Ibrahimovic. It all happened in 2006 when Ibra played for Juventus against Materazzi's Inter. In one of the matches, Marco brutally knocked Zlatan down after his classy backheel pass. In the next game, he went further by causing Zlatan an injury. Soon Ibra moved to Inter, becoming Materazzi's teammate, but he didn't forget that story even years later. Here's what Ibra says: "I wanted to return to the pitch to get my revenge on Materazzi. If someone does that to me, I won't forget about it. But after 2 minutes, I'm in too much pain to go on. I can't play." In the first game, the 2010-11 derby, they were all against me. Okay, this motivates me. But if you don't have any control, it's not good. You lose your head and do something stupid. I got a penalty, and who faulted me? Materazzi. 1-0 Milan. In the second half, Matrix is coming at me and I hit him with the taekwondo move, so I sent him to the hospital. Then Stankovic asked me, "Why did you do that?" And I replied to him, "I have been waiting for this moment for 4 years. That's why." Materazzi too remembered that incident in an interview. He said that his violent nature didn't let him play like Ronaldo and Messi. These guys are not enemies, but at least they are not fond of each other. Oliver Kahn and Jens Lehmann. In 2019, an unordinary story happened in the Germany national team. Marc-Andre ter Stegen, the Barcelona goalkeeper, openly resented that the Bundesteam was ignoring his great performance for the club, preferring Neuer instead. There was a debate between the keepers through the press. Manuel claimed that Marc should have thought about the team, and ter Stegen said that Neuer had no right to discuss other people's feelings. Few know that this is not the only confrontation of goalkeepers in the modern history of German football. Something similar happened between Oliver Kahn and Jens Lehmann, two superb goalkeepers that competed for the place in the first 11 in the 2000s. "I don't feel the necessary respect in Germany. The thing is I'm number 2 in the team, though I think I should play. Currently I'm better than Kahn," said Lehmann in 2003. Later he openly attacked Kahn. "I don't have a 24-year-old girlfriend, I have a completely different lifestyle," said Jens, claiming that the Bayern goalkeeper was having an affair with a young bartender. Kahn answered calmly but obviously annoyed. "Such outbursts happen more and more often, almost daily. I don't know Lehmann's problem, but he definitely has one." This continued until 2006, when Lehmann at last performed as number 1 at an international tournament. But it was Kahn who put an end to the conflict. During the World Cup quarter-final match, he approached Lehmann before the penalty shootout to motivate him. It was a pleasure to watch. Lehmann was great in that shootout, helping Germany qualify for the semi-final. John Terry and Wayne Bridge. Until 2010, Terry was the pride of Chelsea and the England national team, but one incident ruined his reputation forever. It got to the point when the fans created petitions demanding to stop calling him up to the national team. John got into a very dirty story, though initially he had only been trying to help his friend and teammate Wayne Bridge. Wayne had difficult relations with his wife, Vanessa, and Terry acted as a peacemaker between them. He was calling her, trying to persuade not to break up with her husband. Soon John started visiting his friend's wife in person, and a couple of months later it was all over the news that Terry regularly slept with Vanessa. She even got pregnant and John paid for the abortion. The Chelsea defender was trying to conceal those details in the court, but it didn't work. His reputation hit the ground. A few days later, after those publications, Chelsea played Man City, a club Wayne Bridge had recently moved to. Before the kickoff, Wayne refused to shake hands with his ex-friend. Terry lost the captain's armband of the national team, though many fans wanted him completely out. and when Terry racially offended Rio Ferdinand's brother during a Premier League match, he totally ruined his reputation. Terry's good name hasn't recovered yet. In England, he is remembered not as a great defender but as a man who betrayed his friend, embarrassing himself in the eyes of the whole country. Roy Keane and Patrice Vieira. This story dates back to the 90s, when the Premier League was not a fancy tournament with a bunch of innovative coaches and technical Europeans from the continent. 1997 is the year of the Premier League rebirth. Man United won their first title in 5 years, and Arsenal under Arsene Wenger was becoming a powerful team. Soon, clashes between these two clubs became the most heated games in the Premier League. And the highlight of those matches were the conflicts of Roy Keane and Patrice Vieira. Keane was a beast on the pitch. He was devastating the midfield, kicking the ball less often than the opponent's feet. His mad eyes that showed his obvious readiness to kill became iconic for English football. Roy was opposed by Frenchman Patrice Vieira, not so brutal from the first glance, but also ready to fight till the last drop of blood. The duel between these two defensive midfielders became epic in the Premier League. Every match they just flew into each other to air their differences. The culmination of the war was the incident in the tunnel at the Highbury. Here's what Keane recalls. They were a big team, and in the tunnel they were even bigger, so I said to myself, alright, let's go. I went down there. I'd lost it, but I wasn't zoning out. I wasn't forgetting about the game. I said, we'll see you out there. I just felt they were bullying Gary. I don't think it was intimidation, it was bullying. There's a difference. If Patrice Vieira had come up to me and said, I'm going to have you, that would have been intimidation. Video of that clash was a hit, cementing the Keane-Vieira war in the history of football. Many years have gone by, and today these men can sit in front of each other and remember the old good days when they were playing on not so perfect English fields. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button, because we make the best football videos for you. Mauro, Icardi and Maxi Lopez. Another scandalous story based on cheating. In 2012, a young and promising forward performed at Sampdoria, Mauro Icardi. He played alongside Maxi Lopez, a 28-year-old ex-Barcelona player and Leo Messi's good friend. As Icardi and Lopez were both Argentines, they became friends quite quickly. Maxi invited Mauro for a dinner and introduced him to his wife, an ex-porn actress Wanda Nara. At that moment, Lopez did not realize what a fatal mistake he made by bringing Icardi into his family. Wanda started dating Mauro behind her husband's back, and soon she packed her things, took her 3 sons, and moved in with Mauro. She posted things like, "My boyfriend is a 40-year-old man in the body of a young boy," showing photos of expensive gifts. Lopez was mad, but he could do nothing. There was no chance to get his family and children back. Icardi's controversial move made things even worse. He got a tattoo with the names of Maxi's sons, trying to show that now they were his family. After that, the compatriots never shook hands and avoided each other. By the way, the rumor has it that this story was the reason Icardi didn't settle in the national team. Messi and Lopez are friends, and Messi insisted on the elimination of Mauro from the team. And now Icardi is on his way out of PSG. Sergio Ramos and Gerard Pique. These two have lived through many bright moments on the same and the opposing sides. For 10 years, Pique and Ramos were defending the colors of their national teams side by side in the center of the defense. At the same time, at least twice a season, they fought against each other on the pitch in El Clásico and off the pitch as well. When Pique just appeared in the Spain national team, the two of them could not stand each other. But as Puyol retired, they had to learn to work together. The collective victories brought Sergio and Gerard closer, and they learned to leave their club rivalry outside of the national team. But there were still enemies on the club level. Pique and Ramos were constantly in the center of scuffles during El Clásicos. Gerard mocked Madrid for bringing in Cheryshev in a Copa del Rey game, as they got relegated because of that. And Ramos answered him recalling Gerard's complaints about referees. I know about Pique's little world, where everything is always against him. In recent years, Ramos and Pique have not been squabbling that much. Well, that's explainable, as Pique is not performing for the national team anymore, and Sergio moved to Paris. But their confrontation is the reflection of the fierce rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona during the last 15 years. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Rafael van der Vaart. Yes, it's Zlatan again on our list. Well, it couldn't have been otherwise. Ibra conflicted with a lot of people during his career, but the Van der Vaart case is worth mentioning separately. You can read this story in details in Ibra's autobiography I Am Zlatan, but we'll tell you the most interesting moments. It all happened in 2004 when Van der Vaart and Ibrahimovic played at Ajax. Sweden and the Netherlands played in the European Championship playoff, and the Dutch midfielder was injured in the game by Ibrahimovic. In his book, Zlatan claims he didn't do it intentionally, but Van der Vaart thought otherwise. "He broke my ankle and then he left. It was clear one of us had to leave Ajax." The Ajax bosses tried to reconcile them, but Rafael was confident he was right, and Zlatan didn't want to admit he fought on purpose. Eventually, Ibra lost his temper and told Rafa in public that he would break his legs if he didn't stop speaking nonsense. Then they played against Breda, and Zlatan scored one of the greatest goals in his career.
Ibrahimovic. Goed ingehouden. En nu nog een keer schiet ook.
Everybody was happy. They were shouting, jumping and celebrating. Everybody except one man, of course. The camera was flying all over the stadium to finally find Van der Vaart. He was sitting still, his face didn't move, it didn't express anything, as if what I just did was the worst thing that could ever happen in his life. Well, maybe it was so. Soon Ibrahimovic moved to Juventus and never met Van der Vaart, but both of them haven't forgotten that story till today. Thibaut Courtois and Kevin De Bruyne. Courtois and De Bruyne are the brightest representatives of the Belgian golden generation, but somehow they literally hate each other. And the reason is a girl. Again, Kevin told this story in his autobiography. Once De Bruyne's girlfriend, Caroline, left for Madrid and had an affair with Courtois that played at Atletico at that moment. Kevin's friend told him she was cheating on him. Later, Caroline said she has done that to avenge Kevin for his adulteries in 2012. Also, she claimed that Courtois was more intelligent and smart, so she could have much more interesting conversations with him. The national team coach Mark Wilmots had to deal with this problem because Thibaut and Kevin were beckoning all the time in training. He even offered De Bruyne to move Courtois out of the team, but Kevin said he had no right to decide another player's fate. But they haven't made peace till now. Moreover, De Bruyne heavily criticized Courtois when he moved to Real Madrid. "I'm happy he left Chelsea. Only the best should play in England." That's what he said. Karim Benzema and Matteo Valbuena. This incident cost Benzema a lot, 5 years out of the national team to be more precise. In 2015, Karim was accused of blackmailing by the French court. It became known that Valbuena had been blackmailed by a video of an unknown but obviously delicate content, and Benzema decided to help his teammate with advice. "Pay them, these guys are not kidding," suggested the Real Madrid player. The investigation thought Benzema was in collusion with the criminals, though Karim insisted it was a friendly talk where he had been trying to share his opinion. But the prosecution had other proof besides Benzema's advice. In the result of wiretapping, the police found Benzema's childhood friend, a man called Zenati. He claimed that they had agreed that Karim would talk to Valbuena. However, Benzema was expelled from the national team as he could face a 5-year sentence in prison. Only in 2021, Deschamps had mercy on the Real Madrid forward and brought him back into the squad. But Benzema missed his chance to put his name in history, becoming the France national team top scorer. Luis Suarez and Patrice Evra. This is arguably the biggest racist scandal in football. By the way, this story also increased the hatred between Liverpool and Manchester United. But first things first. In October 2011, Patrice Evra, the Man United defender, gave a resonant interview after the match against Liverpool. He claimed that Suarez called him Negro around 10 times during the match. Sir Alex Ferguson also talked about this issue, as for him it was a good reason to damage the fierce rivals' reputation and have their main striker out of the game. Especially as Suarez had arrived in England with a bad name. Everyone knew he had beaten Bakal in Eredivisie. Suarez claimed he didn't meant anything offensive. He said that in Spanish the word Negro is used in a friendly and playful manner, and that it helped characterize people types. For example, gordo means heavy, guapo, pretty, negro, black. It didn't help. Luis was fined and suspended for 8 matches. In their next match, Evra and Suarez didn't shake hands. Later they blamed each other for not doing that. It's not yet clear who was the first to keep away his hand in the pre-match greeting ceremony. Who do you think it was? Share your opinion in the comments. Pretty soon Suarez destroyed his reputation by biting Ibrahimovic and Keane. And when Barcelona signed him, they added a clause in his contract, according to which Luis would have paid a huge fine if he kept doing his dirty things. However, the Barcelona-Suarez union was a golden one, so the biting and racist stories were not remembered at Camp Nou. Pele and Diego Maradona. The two greatest footballers of the 20th century were not close friends in recent years, though they talked positively about each other and showed some respect. Pele even soulfully said goodbye to Maradona. It's sad to lose friends like this. One day we'll play football together in heaven. But they haven't always been on good terms. Furthermore, they criticized each other for the most part of their lives, although they had never met on the pitch. There were rumors that Diego was jealous of Pele's status as he was called the king of football and the best footballer of all time. The Argentine openly mocked Pele in media. Mostly he hinted Pele's homosexuality. The thing is that in his autobiography Pele wrote that his first sexual encounter had been with a man at the age of 14, but hadn't affected his orientation. Maradona couldn't just let it go. What can Pele say if he lost his virginity with a man? But this wasn't Diego's only attacking method. Pele was a great footballer, but unfortunately he didn't do much to develop this sport. I'd love to have seen him in charge of the association, not to have let Grincha die in poverty, to fight the rich people destroying football and not helping them. Pele outraged in response and attacked Maradona back when he took over the Argentina national team. Diego took this job because he needs money. Argentina won't be successful because of their coach's lifestyle. But all those issues are long gone, being only small details in the dispute who's the best football player in history. And what other controversies do you remember? Let us know in the comments. See you soon.